So the client has approved the estimate and would like to hire you. There are two examples that we will be going through. Both of them do not have a work order attached. We will see estimates with work orders attached in other videos. The first thing we will need to do is click on the estimate that the client is approving. Scroll down and click on Approve on behalf of customer. Once we have done this, we can create an invoice. Scroll towards the top and you will see the button to create invoice. A screen will pop up with the various services listed on the estimate. In this case, there is just one service, lawn mowing. Check the box and hit create invoice. This will bring you to the next screen where you can still make changes to the description or the subtotal. We will leave ours as is. Scroll down and hit save. This will bring you to the invoice page. You can email the invoice directly to the client, mark it as sent, or print it out. At this point, the invoice type should be changed so that it can reflect the type of invoice and payment options available to the client. This will also be important later for reporting purposes. You will need to go back to the original estimate to do this. You can click on the invoice and hit the number of the estimate located towards the top, or you can click on the estimate in the main client file listed in the estimate section. Hit Edit Estimate. Click on the drop-down menu and choose the appropriate invoice type. Hit Save. This will bring you back to the estimate page. Note that once you have entered a payment, the invoice type and date can no longer be changed. The payment would need to be deleted and re-entered after making the changes you needed. Let's go back to the main client file. Now we can see that the invoice type is summer service contract, and if we click on this, we can see that the payment options are laid out. For our second example, let's say you wanted to create multiple invoices from an estimate. Maybe you are invoicing based on when the service gets completed, like aeration. Let's go back to the main client file and approve the second estimate that we saw in there. Click the estimate and then hit approve on behalf of customer. It is important to note that if one of the service line items are not being approved, that you remove that service line from the estimate. If you do not do this, the service is active and can be added to a route whether there is an invoice for it or not, which potentially means providing free service. To find any service that is active but not invoiced, you can go to the report section and click on Services Ready to Invoice, and it will show you a list of active services that have not been invoiced. Back to our example. Go to the approved estimate to create the invoice, hit Create Invoice. Select the items you would like to add to the invoice. Let's add spring cleanup and spring aeration. Remember, we will also want to change the invoice type. Let's do that now. Go back to the original estimate, hit Edit Estimate, click on the drop-down menu and choose the appropriate invoice type. Hit Save. To create a new invoice from the same estimate, go back to the approved estimate and do the same steps. Notice that there is only one item left to create an invoice. However, you can also add a service that was not in the original invoice. If you hit the edit button at this stage, you can add new services. For now, we will stick with the services that were on the original estimate created. You can still add other services to any of the invoice by clicking on the invoice and hitting edit. In the next video, we will look at adding payments.